12 years in that division and they're out.
Hey guys, and welcome back to SEADOGS Can Fly. This is episode number 5, and we are now 3/4 way through the first season, which is in the 7th tier of English football. Today, we're going to be having a quick look through the squad because I want to show you a few really key players. We're also going to catch up with the schedule so you can see what games you've missed, and then we've got a really big live cup game. Before we jump into the episode itself, please do hit subscribe and the bell button. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the episode, it really does help the channel. But most importantly, you'll notice I'm wearing a new piece of merchandise, the Scarbough Athletic shirt. I've left a link in the description. If you guys get attached to the team in any way throughout this series, you can jump into that link and go and buy some merchandise. Caps are about a tenner, hats, and the shirts are about 20 quid. So it's not a lot of money, and bear in mind we're going through some very tough times with the virus right now. So I know cash is tight, but it'll be even tighter for the football clubs who don't have any revenue coming in. Let's start with the squad then, guys, and I'll just pull out a couple of players that have been vital for us. Junior Ngaze, he has been brought in just this season, and his overall physicals as well as his crossing and defensive ability have been fantastic. He's barely made a mistake, and looking at his decisions you can see why. 15, that's really high for this level. 6 assists have been vital. Aaron Akuma at centre back. We've managed to tie him down to a new contract, so he's going to be here for an extra year, thankfully. Hasn't cost us much more money either. He's quick and he's been defensively brilliant for us. Barely made a mistake. Then we've got Tyler Hamilton. This guy has been sensational at this level. 14 goals, 13 assists, and I really want to keep him on for next year. Thankfully, we will. He's signed a new contract, another 50 quid per week, but he's going to be well worth it. He can now play on the right or the left as well, seeing as we've got Dorian Samba who's coming on the left side, which is where we were using Hamilton previously. Michael Coulson's the main man still. He scored 24 goals, by far our best goal scorer. He scores from free kicks, headers, outside the box, inside the box, through balls. There's no weakness to his game at the moment. At 31 he is going to decline at some point, but I'm going to take advantage while we still can. And the other player I really wanted to show you was Chris Dawson, our deep line playmaker. The scouts and coaches don't think a lot to him, but for us he's actually been pretty key in that central midfield role with his link-up play. 5 goals and 9 assists is not to be sniffed at. I haven't tied him down to a new deal yet because I'm being a bit stingy with the money, but I think we're about getting there now. I might have to pay him another 20 quid per week. And then finally, the last person I wanted to bring you to your attention is Jose Ramon. We've had him from the start of the season. He's only 18 years old, and I'd kind of written him off because he had a couple of real crappy performances in the first couple of games. However, I used him in a cup match and he played really well, scoring a goal. So I've used him since, and he's actually played pretty well. And I actually think he's got a really good all-round game. His passing and vision, I mean his vision isn't great in fairness, but his passing is good, his technique is good, and he's good off the ball. Right, that's the key players for me at present within the team. There is one guy that's picked up a bit of a knock. He's only out for 2 weeks, but that's Wayne Brooksby. Now this guy may not look like an awful lot by his attributes, but every time he comes on the pitch he scores a worldie. He scored 10 goals this season, and a couple of the goals you're going to see in the highlights, which we're going to jump into now. So last time we left off, we lost to Gainsborough and we beat Warrington 7-2. Now that 7-2 victory was the catalyst for an unbeaten run. So that's 13 games unbeaten, 10 of which came in the league, and only one of those was a draw. That was a 3-3 thriller away to Whitby Town, which we'll look at in just a second. We started it all off by beating Hyde 3-0. All 3 goals came from corners. Lancaster likewise, 3-0. Our centre-back Akuma, midfielder Farina and Hegarty, the right-back, scored. Before we went and beat Whitton Albion 5-1 away from home. And the first 2 goals were absolute stunners. Merris, our left-back, scored, hitting the bottom right corner. Before the second goal came from a bit of a goal-mouth scramble. The throw-in came in from Hegarty. Ball was bouncing around everywhere, but it eventually made its way to Glynn, who volleyed the ball home. We then came up against Margate in the Cup and we won that one 4-0. Another brilliant performance, and again the first 2 goals were stunners. And Gaze found Hamilton, who found the top corner, brilliant goal right there. Before Scullion brought the ball forward, Dawson found the bottom corner with a curler. Stunning strike. Like I say, we went on to win that one 4-0 in the end. Basford we beat 2-1, and then we came up against Clitheroe in the Cup. Now we won this one 7-0, but look at that for terrible defending. Who was marking Hamilton from that set piece? I do not know. And that was indicative of their performance all round. Like I say, the Whitby Town game was a complete thriller. We went 2-0 down before coming back to be winning 3-2 with seconds remaining. Then Bradley Fewster went and scored in injury time. Well, 89th minute to be fair. Then Morpeth were dispatched 4-0. Mario Tint scored 2. McNall finally got on the score sheet again, as did Harry Coates. Looking at that team, we're actually playing a weakened 11, and that's because we came up against Chesterfield in the FA Trophy next. Bearing in mind Chesterfield sit 9th in the Vanarama National League, I didn't hold my breath. But we had already beat Yeovil, who were top of the National League, so we did have a little bit of hope there, and to be honest, we outperformed them. Samba crossed for Tint to score the first goal, and then the second goal came courtesy of Brooksby. He came off the bench, picked up the pass from Okuma, cut inside, and look at this for a strike. Talk about composure in the 86th minute with a 1-0 lead. So that took us through to the quarter-final, which is what we're going to watch today. The FA Trophy quarter-final against Aldershot. Now Aldershot are in 4th in the Vanarama National League. So going to be a tough ask to beat them, but we are at home. We've beaten both Yeovil at home and Chesterfield at home. So I'm kind of fancying our chances. I think it'll be a good game. And as for the league table, we are top. Scarbough Athletic, the SEADOGS, top of the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Brilliant. We were more favourites to go down than we were to go up, so I'm happy with that. Stalybridge Celtic are hot on our heels. They're 9 points behind, but they can be 6 points behind if they win their game in hand, and they are playing really well. So it's probably going to go on for another month at least before we can be secure over promotion. But if our run continues as it has done, that should be nothing short of inevitable. This is the team that we're going for in the live com game today. So we've got Michael Coulson up front, the main man. And we've got Yonsian on the right side of the attack because he's got quite a bit of speed and he's scored 13 goals so far from 16 starts. Hamilton's from the right with his speed, his flair, his aggression, and just the amount of goals and assists he's had this season. He's going to come in handy. Samba, likewise. He's started to come good now, so I'm quite confident he may have a good game. Dawson's going to be deep line playmaker. With his passing and his vision and just his all-round ability, I think he should do well. Farina, we want that defensive presence in the team purely for the reason that we're against Aldershot and they are 4th in the National League. The back line is about as strong as it gets, other than Merris. This could be the weak link, unfortunately, at left back. He's also our assistant manager, I believe. He's got quite a few assists, but they've come from throwing, so it's a bit deceiving. He's coming in because Scullion is suspended. Right guys, let's jump into the live com itself. Okay, let's get into the dressing room guys and pump these lads up for the game. I think we'll go with the assistant's recommendation of prove a point here. Now I was tempted to go with the cautious mentality for this game purely because Aldershot do that themselves, and very often if you play an attacking style like I do, you can get caught out up against teams that are of better ability and play quite cautious. But we're going to throw a caution to the wind. We're going to go attacking and have a good go purely for the reason that we did beat Yeovil and we did beat Chesterfield, so we should take confidence from both of those games. As Ascenso moves the ball forward, Hamilton picks it up over the top to Yonsian, who's in on goal. And can Samba finish? No, he can't. What a scramble. First chance of the game, that gives us one clear-cut chance and 3 half chances already. Aldershot haven't had a shot as yet, which would ring true to what the scouts were saying about their cautious mentality. They're obviously sitting back, trying to soak up our possession and hit us on the counter. Hamilton's in behind. That's a penalty, I think it is. Michael Coulson Can you put your name in the history books, get us through to the semi-final of the FA Trophy? Yes, you can. Great goal. That's his 25th of the season for the big man. Good start to the game. 28 minutes in, we've already had a couple of clear-cut chances. We've had 3 half chances, and Aldershot have barely touched the ball. There we are. Right. Pretty simple so far, boys. Pretty simple so far. Let's hope it stays that way. And Gaze's been booked, so we'll tell him to ease off the tackles just before we end up going down to 10 men. Now we're on the 55th minute. There's barely been a highlight for Aldershot. I think we're going to have to watch the clock tick down, and if we're in the same position with 15 minutes to go, then we'll be switching to the cautious mentality and probably telling the lads to hold their line and and to not press so much, because we may well get caught out otherwise. Our defence isn't the greatest, in fairness. They're working the ball around now. I think they've gone to a more positive mentality based on this. Buttermere, Rowe, works the ball back to Fowler. Fowler to Rowe. Tinkler, Tanner. I hope this highlight ain't going anywhere. Buttermere, he's in. Oh my days, you knew that was coming. That's very frustrating. Right, Yonsian off for Tint. Let's get Glynn on for... I think we'll have him on for Samba, because Hamilton does well cutting inside from the left. And then we're going to get Farina off because he's been awful. I'm actually going to get Watson on for that because he prefers a box-to-box midfielder. There's only 20 minutes left and I'm not sure whether to stick or twist. Oh, Tint. Twist, twist, twist. Right, cautious mentality. We have just taken the lead again. So let's get on to regroup and hold shape as well. This is my go-to instruction for when we're trying to hold a lead. Coulson and Tint on the end of it. Coulson does that time and time again, getting on the end of those throw-ins. That's why he's got so many assists, I think. Right, 10 minutes left, guys. We're on the cautious mentality now. We're holding our shape. I'm hoping that'll be enough to see us through. Aldershot's done now all game. They've had 3 half chances, but that's only come in second half. We've been by far the better team, and we've won 2-1. That's the 3rd National League team that we have slain in this cup, and we're now through to the semi-final of the FA Trophy. We've got the Integral League Cup quarter-final coming up over 2 legs as well, and let's just have a quick look. So who could we get in the semi-final? There's a replay between Kings Lynn Town and Gateshead. Dover are through, or Dartford. So Dover are 17th in National League, and Dartford are 12th in the National League South. Gateshead, they'd be a tough team. I know they're in National League North, but they're a big repped side. And Kings Lynn, National League, I tell you what, we've got a good chance. We have a very good chance of winning this thing. Right, boys, well, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to come back, and it'll probably be more for an FA Trophy game than it will for the league, to be fair. If we have a quick look at the schedule, there's not an awful lot of games left to play, really. We've got a couple, well, 3 months worth, basically. The FA Trophy semi-final is over 2 legs. That's to be played quite shortly. So I'll see who I'm drawn against that as to whether we come back for that or whether we wait till a little bit later in the season and see when the final is itself. Right, boys, I've bored you enough today, so I'm going to sign off at that. Before you go, please do subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes go live. There's loads on the channel at the moment. It's not just this SEADOGS Can Fly series. We're playing with York in a lower league series, which we're now up to the Premier League and competing in Champions League football, and loads of tips, guides and tactics. So get yourself subscribed and like this video if you enjoyed it. See you later, chaps.